Hi guys, welcome back. So we are joined with another sketchbook. So this one is, well, from Bath College, but when I went to Bath College, I was in college for 2 years and before I went to university for 3, and we did loads of different projects in the first year, so to be able to find out what we kind of wanted to go into. We didn't have to stick to one obviously, and we just carried on into the realm of whatever is well, whatever medium we wanted to go into. So just gonna get started. So this is more like sculptural sketchbook, so like the 3-dimensional with plaster, wood, anything to do with tools. A lot of it was very much in between from what I can remember. I remember making something with textiles and I absolutely hated it, but we're just going to explore. And as always, I have done many of these sketchbooks look throughs, so do check them out on my channel. There's a vast variety of them and I will be going through every single one, and I've still got plenty more to go to. So first off, we're going to start with sculpture with my amazing photography skills of just a plasterboard. There was a little bit of sculpting around it, but we all got told to bring something organic in to be able to use for observational skills, and mine was just a acorn. It had like a nut inside of it. I remember you had to like bite into it to get the shell off and then get to the nut that's inside. That's the brief of how you can get the top marks and how long it is. So this one was 5 weeks long, and well, actually this was in the first year, so very self-explanatory. What you need to do, how to do it, your homework. We had reading homework, which I was so pleased about. I didn't mind reading about art, I just didn't like writing about it, if anyone didn't know that. So here we got it. Oh, here it is. I can't remember what it is, but I remember we had to make this out of clay and then we had to put little holes in it. I've still actually got this little structure. It's at my parents' house. They've got it in their conservatory because it's just a nice organic form. I love the smoothness of the, I'm just going to call it an acorn. I'm not sure if it's an actual acorn. The top of it, and then you've got the roughness of the leaves. I did struggle with the leaves a bit because I had to make these pillars so they wouldn't slop off and break. And then we've also got a bit of woodwork where we had to sympathise the same organic item. And then we've got the textile bit where we have to faff around with a bit of, well, textiles. I did a drawing of it. I think the drawing was better than the actual outcome. I'm not really a textile person and I never really got the thought of it. Never got the idea of why would you want to make textiles. It's just my form. But saying that, with any medium that I have that opinion of, it's just because I haven't found a way around it. But I do like that drawing. It's quite aesthetically pleasing to look at. Then we've got some wire work. Quite like that actually. Don't know why. I think it's just because it's quite simple. And I've got a bit of cardboard and very abstract. And then we've got some artist research. I wonder why I photographed these, not photograph these, scan them in to print. Maybe I did them externally and then I wanted to put them in, and then, I don't know. Aloy's been really attention seeking right now. If anyone doesn't know who Aloy is, she's one of my cats. Well, she's the only cat. She likes to sit on me whilst I'm doing my work. Since I've managed to clean my studio today, it's looking nice and neat and tidy for a change, and she's decided to stay with me all day. So we've got some artist research, and that is her head. She likes to rub herself against the table as well. I don't think these artists I came across, well, this artist I've come across since, because I think with 3-dimensional products, I think the only material I've ever gone into was actual plaster in my 3rd year of university, so I don't think they popped up at all. And then I've got some more artist research, some sketches of, well, my acorn and trying to do some sort of design and abstraction of it, and a bit of pottery. And I've just got all the photographs. Oh, I remember this. I made this massive pot. So we did a really weird abstraction of the clay piece further around and tried to turn it into a piece of pottery. But instead of doing it on a wheel, like throwing clay, we had to build it up. And this was the size of the base, and I worked it up, but it made this weird, it ended up looking like. So here is some of the bits and pieces. So that's actually the outside bit, and I attached handles onto it. and got the inside glazed. I made the outside bit really nice, lovely and textured to make and form a really lovely piece of pottery. Some more research that I enjoyed so much. I wanted to collaborate that within my clay piece. And that's it. That was the final piece. I really thoroughly enjoyed actually making it, and I actually sold it. Well, it's nice to know when someone buys something off of you, they thoroughly enjoyed it, and once they received it, because they bought it through my eBay account, they were thoroughly happy with it, and it arrived safely because it is pottery. And it's just one of those things that you never know if it's going to work or not. It's one of those mediums and you never really get time to do, but once you're in it, you're obsessed with it. It's a bit like acrylic pouring, because it's very hands-on and you make everything with it. But I'm not really a pottery will, that kind of scenario. I'd rather build it up to create really cool pots, because I actually did go back into it for a week within university. I know a whole week out of the 3 years, the fact that I reintroduced myself back into it, and that was actually proper clay throwing. It gave me experience to come back to it and then realise my love for it. It's more like a hobby within my hobby. And it is a guilty pleasure, but the problem is though, is that I don't have a kiln, and to be able to create pots that don't need firing, there's not really a use for them, if that makes sense. Because ideally you want them to hold, you know, flowers, or they're just for design, but if they get wet, it will disrupt the integrity, basically. So without a kiln or the money to give to someone else to be able to fire them for you, there is that missing element of it. Obviously you can do them just for design, but you have to make sure that the person who buys them, or if you use them yourself, that they don't get wet, and that is something that is missing from it. But I do want to get back into it. I just got to afford some terracotta clay. I actually have a massive list of artist materials that I want to buy. Some things come first, unfortunately. My bills at my house come first, so if I get a little bit of money left over, say someone bought an artwork, I put that towards it and then I buy it. Like last week I had enough money to go out and buy some resin to do a resin pour, which was great because I haven't touched resin for about 6 months. But we did do this lovely effect, remember, for this pot with inside, like we said, we glazed it, that when we put it in the kiln we put straw in there, and that created a lovely smoky effect, which was beautiful because it made this kind of effect inside. I do kind of wish I did it the reverse, or made another one and did a reverse, because it was such a beautiful effect and it was really smooth compared to the textured outside. So maybe next time I will consider it if I've got the time and money, but obviously that is down to whether or not YouTube takes off and if I can get financially stable within the art world. So if you'd like to help me with that, please just subscribe. Just a little input into there. I've also got the sketches, the measurements and sketches of the pot, with the base down here, just a little architectural part of the clay structure. And I've got, so this might be where we started the second part of it. Yes, so we did 5 weeks of introducing yourself into all the materials, and you got to choose which material you went into, and this is when we started to go into using wood and constructing a 3-dimensional piece, which was very exciting as always, because I love physically drilling and doing DIY stuff anyway. So as always, artist featurettes, I love these massive structures of just a form. Normally it would be quite small, so it would be like an apple or an abstracted orange or something, and they've just massed it up, well, increased the size and scale and abstracted the object so you see it in a completely different way. All those lovely little marks, and then obviously got a lovely bit of health and safety. It's a bit of a weird one because this is very small, so I don't know why I didn't just make it bigger. I've got some Andy Goldsworthy, because he did a lot of outdoor art, and then some more pictures of just the process, some more artist research, which looks geometric, is that the right word? And then more images of the process, I wonder what actually happened to the sculpture, because I don't remember what, like, I really loved it. And I say that about a lot of pieces, but it was really lovely to look at, structurally and visually. And the fact that I managed to actually get the measurements correct, so you just sand down little bits and it was just perfect. I've also got my mask for when I use the machines. And then lastly, but not at all least, I have my overview and evaluation of the whole project. So I'll just read the last little bit. The most successful part must have been the time management. I finished both topics with a lesson before the end. This allowed me to touch and improve further the pottery, adding the decoration and smoothing edges and woodwork, sanding down corners which didn't look quite right to fit in with the smooth surface of the original object. There is one thing I would definitely change, that has to be the scale of the final outcomes. I felt like all the detail was confined and not exaggerated enough. If my pot and woodwork was bigger, I could express the details further and even expand the shape further. In hindsight, I think they were big enough. I was very critical of myself and I was too much of a perfectionist, whereas now I just give myself a bit more of a break. Now and again, I can be a bit like, oh, that's not great. Like, I've got a painting on the side that's drying, and when I first did it, I was like, don't like it at all. It's just not me. I had a cup of tea, came back to it, and I was like, oh, okay, it's not that bad. It just needs to be further edited a bit further and, well, basically changed a little bit. I mean, perfectionist is just one of those things I'm trying to avoid, because I know that every day is not going to be perfect, and I've had this my whole life. I feel like I'm constantly running out of time, and it turns out that is a symptom of like anxiety, which is something you just got to live with, unfortunately. But that aside, I hope you guys enjoyed this little look through of the sketchbook, because I thoroughly did enjoy it, and it reignited, well, my vision of pottery, and I really would like to be able to work with it more outside my channel and also inside my channel. If I can get a decent kiln price to be able to fire them, that'd be amazing. And obviously be able to buy the materials in the first place would be a good shout as well. So that being said, thank you guys so much for watching it. I'd love to know what your thoughts are on my sketchbook. Please like and subscribe to my channel to see more videos like this as well, because it helps me a lot, get me further towards financial freedom. And also, if you'd like to make a donation, there's a donation page on my eBay account, on my PayPal account in the description box as well. If you can't do any of that, please just like and subscribe, because it really, like I said, it really does help. And I hope to see you guys for my next video. Bye for now.